Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Till the Whistle Blows podcast. My name is Sam, and we have an episode for you. We got a lot to discuss here. We're going into NFL Week 6. We got the World Series coming around. We got some other news from other leagues. So we will get right into everything. And this week, if you're watching on YouTube, we will be bringing back the webcam. So if you're on YouTube, you will get to see my pretty face again. If not, don't worry about it. Sorry, the microphone arm just fell. But with that, we can get cracking into it. I have all my notes, and I will fix the microphone as it needs to be. So if we're going to kick off right into Week 6 here. We had no Thursday night game, which I'm a little upset by, because that should have been a good game to have watched. I would have been excited to see that. You know, that was one of the interesting games for the week. But we will get to that later, because they moved the Thursday night to Monday due to last week having a Tuesday game. So, why don't we kick off with one of the games from Sunday, and we're going to go talk about the most interesting one that was out there. We had the Texans versus the Titans. Now, the Titans won that 42-36. I did say the Titans were going to win that and remain unbeaten. Now, the Titans, that was a good game all around by Texans and Titans. They had an amazing game. They did what was needed to be done. Derrick Henry proved why he is one of the best running backs out here in the league. Ryan Tannehill, you don't really see him throw much, but he threw some dimes. He really got there. Like, on that last drive before OT, he hit some impressive marks when it came to hitting A.J. Brown and all them, like, to get to overtime there. That was an amazing play by him. Like, that was an amazing quarterback play going on by Ryan Tannehill. Mike Vrabel giving a lot of respect to his quarterback in terms of what he's allowing him to do, because he balled out that game. It's unfortunate that the Texans couldn't keep their win streak going. They did win last week. Now they needed a win here. But Deshaun Watson still played hard. He did what he could, but unfortunately he's getting railed here. He's getting railed by a team that was getting screwed over by Bill O'Brien, and now Romeo Crennel is trying to pick up the pieces, and it's just not working out. So hopefully the Texans, we'll see what the season holds for them. But they'll have to do some major rethinking here, because, like, you gave up DeAndre Hopkins to spread the ball around, and you got David Johnson as well. But that didn't help anyone. Like, Bill O'Brien, I don't know what he was doing, but hopefully they'll figure it out next season. They'll get a coach that helps Deshaun Watson, and they'll get going from there. Now we have the Bengals and the Colts. The Colts won that 31-27. I said the Colts were going to win. I thought it was going to be a different game, though. The Bengals went up 21-0. And they blew that entire lead to this Colts team. Now, is that just how bad the Bengals are, or is that just how good the Colts were? Because you never know, because the Bengals, unfortunately, they're still not this great team just because they have Burrow. They are a team that is still in the middle of a rebuild. I wouldn't consider them the Dolphins, because the Dolphins, when they're doing it, they at least look better than they were last year. The Bengals don't look better. They look the same. They kind of lateraled, but they were able to pick the piece they want for the future, but they're not really developing him. They also, like, his weapons aren't really there all the time. Like, AJ Green, don't get me wrong, he's an amazing receiver, but he's so injured all the time that he might be out of practice. He's just not there anymore. Like, Joe Mixon seems to be their top offensive threat. Like, Giovanni Bernard, they were saying he scored his first touchdown since 2013. What the hell? Well, what does that say about a team if their player hasn't scored a touchdown since 2013 at that point? So the Bengals, I think yes, they have their quarterback for the future, but they still need to bring him pieces. They do not have the team ready for him yet. On the Colts side, Phil Rivers, he did great. He came back. He won another one. But is he the answer for the Colts? I get this is more of like a rental for them, because they're probably going to figure out what they want to do next season in terms of quarterback, since Phil is very, very old. We saw one person from his draft class retire already in Eli. Could Phil be next? Could Ben be next? We don't know. But the Colts still have an amazing team around Phil. They need to figure out what they got to do in terms of quarterback coming for the future, because we know that Phil might not be the answer long term. He's probably done after this. He might be. He could retire after this, seeing what kind of playoff run they do. We never know. The one I am most happy for. The Falcons beat the Vikings 40-23. I was not betting high on my Falcons. But for anyone watching on YouTube, if you're not watching on YouTube, I am wearing a Falcons hat. I've got my Deion Jones football jersey on from the new uniforms. I got the blanket hung, helmets in full screen. I've got my hat on for the Falcons because they finally won a game. Jesus Christ. They got rid of Dan Quinn, and look what happened. They won. The defense played amazing. Deion Jones had an interception in the first play. Okuna had the third interception. Adrian Terrell had his first career interception, which was an amazing interception, by the way. We're not going to discredit what he did there, too. That was an amazing interception. Everyone was clicking. Julio finally had an amazing game. It was just awesome. It was sad that Calvin Ridley looked like he got hurt a little bit, but he's doing all right. Julio was even having some fun by faking an injury. When he started hobbling, that scared the shit out of me. But to see him come back like that, it was amazing. Now, when it comes to the Vikings side, though, because you know what? I could talk about my Falcons all day, but that's not why we're here. We want to talk about everyone. We want to give equal attention to all the teams. Vikings, Kirk Cousins, what happened? They roll in there. He threw 3 interceptions. He barely broke, I think 200 yards maybe. Justin Jefferson really got him those yardage because that rookie receiver's balling. But Jesus, that Vikings team, the defense was outplayed. The offense was outplayed. The only team seemed to be working there was the special teams, but that wasn't really helping them since they were just punting on special teams. So I don't know what happened to the Vikings, but they're dropping to 1-5. The Falcons go to 1-5. And hopefully they keep this streak going. Maybe, you know what? They can make a push. They can do something because this NFC is weak, but let's see what they do. Vikings, they need to figure out what they're going to do. I don't think firing Mike Zimmer is the answer to go. I know they lost a lot of pieces on that defensive front for the Vikings. They have 2 injuries, a lot of people left in free agency. They released some people, and one guy said they didn't want to play due to COVID reasons. That's fine. It's understandable. But, you got to see what happens. The Vikings hopefully will figure it out. I know next week they have a bye week. We'll talk about the bye week later, see how they regroup. But hopefully they'll figure it out. They'll find some free agents. They'll do something. Now, the game that was supposed to be played last week that was played this week, we have the Patriots and the Broncos. The Patriots lost 18-12. I thought the Patriots were going to win. They got Cam back. They got Gilmore back. They had their pieces. I thought they'd be ready to roll, but they weren't. They were not ready to roll because you know what? They didn't have Cam to practice, I guess. They didn't have Gilmore to practice. They didn't get these guys practicing as much as they wanted to. They had to kind of work on the fly. They had to kind of adapt to this unfortunate situation they were stuck in because Cam was out for 2 weeks. Gilmore was out for 2 weeks. After that Chiefs game they played, they had to kind of sit out. They had that game rescheduled. So it was unfortunate. On the Broncos side of things, they got Drew Lock back. I guess having Drew Lock was better than having Cyprian, Blake Bortles, or that other guy. I really don't know who their other guy was, but they have a bad quarterback carousel there. But they were able to get Drew Lock back, and he seems to be a good answer. Is he long-term? We don't know. They just played a banged-up Patriots team. Jerry Jeudy, that rookie receiver, he definitely helped out Drew Lock there. Maybe Drew Lock and Jerry Jeudy, maybe they become one of those dynamic duos. Maybe they both develop into amazing players. We don't know. We'll have to see what happens. For the Patriots still, though, Bill Belichick, this really isn't new this is new territory for him. He's not really had a losing season with this team. It's kind of weird to see them third in the division because we'll talk about their division later when we get to those teams. But he is behind a few teams that you would find shocking to believe. In an NFC East matchup, we have the Washington football team versus the New York Giants. I said the Giants were going to win this. The Giants did win this 20-19. Should they have won it? No. They really shouldn't have. They played the sloppiest football. So did the football team, though. It was a sloppy football game. But that last play, so Kyle Allen gets the touchdown, and Ron Rivera says, we're going for 2. Why did you go for 2? We saw what the Titans did when they were down by a touchdown. They come back, they kick the field goal, and then they score. I guess Ron Rivera did not want to go to overtime to take the chance of not getting the football. Fine. But you got to realize you're playing the Giants, and it's been a rough game all around. You should have taken your point. You should have gone to overtime, and you should have trusted your defense if you needed to get the ball back. But you didn't, and now you have to take a crushing loss. I'm not going to say they're going to fire him because, they're a young, rebuilding team still. They still have to figure out their quarterback because obviously Dwayne Haskins isn't what they want. Kyle Allen can't be it. Alex Smith is unfortunately on the bad side of, 2005 draft class where he's coming back from an injury and he hasn't played for 2 years. So he's not going to be there for long term either. So do you want to figure out maybe go after Trevor Lawrence? Do you want to lose? Is that what they were trying to do? They tried losing? But you don't know. On the Giants side, they're trying to play for their new coach here. It's hard for them. They have Daniel Jones might not be the best fit right now. Saquon is hurt. They're playing with a Devontae Freeman. They're playing with Golden Tate, who's kind of an older receiver. They're playing with a Darius Slayton, but he seems to be, going up pretty big. Sterling Shepard, he's coming up too in his own way. But you know what? The Giants, these two teams here in the NFC East, they seem to be struggling, and it's not just them in that division. Because in the next game that we're going to talk about, the Ravens and the Eagles, the Ravens did win that 30-28. The Eagles are in the same boat as both those teams because that team is wicked banged up just like they were last year, just like they were the year before. They're just beaten up. The only player there is Carson Wentz, and you know what? He deserves no hate. Everyone's calling him trash. He willed that team against that Ravens team back to almost winning. They almost won because Carson Wentz willed them there. Don't say he is trash. He put his heart and soul out there. He's throwing his body on the line. They could have easily put in Jalen Hurts and given up on Carson Wentz, but they didn't because they know he's got what it takes. When it comes to it, though, he does not have Alshon Jeffrey. He doesn't have Deshaun Jackson. He doesn't have his running back. He has no one right now. It's unfortunately sad, but that's what it is. Like, he has no one right now. And it's unfortunate that that's what's going on. Like, he is getting banged up. He's getting beaten around to carry a team that's not appreciating him. Sorry, give me 1 second. Not appreciative of him. And you know what? That's not cool. Like, if he was on any other team, and he was doing this, they'd praise the hell out of Carson Wentz. But because he's in Philly, it just doesn't happen. Like, that's just what they do. They're hating on this poor guy who's representing that city for them, and he is putting his body on the line for them, and that's just not cool. Ravens side of things, the thing with the Ravens is they don't have anything. They don't have this number one receiver, I guess you could call it, because Hollywood Brown, yeah, he's really good, but imagine you put I would never want this, but they trade for a Julio, they trade for an AJ Green, or if they sign Antonio Brown. How dangerous would that team be? Lamar Jackson would try to fake going to the, he would run to the side like he would scramble. He could see Antonio Brown down deep. He tosses it to Antonio Brown. That opens up the field so much for them if they get that receiver in there. If they get someone that can help Lamar with the scrambling, that would be awesome. That would make that team next level. No one would be beating them. The Chiefs would be struggling. They would become the number one team in the AFC. There's no question about it if they get a receiver like that. They get a top-tier receiver. If they had a DeAndre Hopkins, if they had an AJ Green, if they had an Antonio Brown, if they had a Julio, that would be the thing to put them over the top. That's how they finish off. They need something that could spread the field for them. They need someone that can help Lamar, even not scramble all the time and give him a nice deep threat. It would be awesome. Now, with that being said, they're not really on top of the AFC North because there was an AFC North battle going on next to them with the Steelers and the Browns. What the hell kind of game was that for the Browns? They were playing so well up to this point, and then they choke it away. They even pulled Baker Mayfield out for Case Keenum to finish the game for him. Was he hurt? I don't know. Maybe he was, maybe he wasn't. But the Steelers beat them 38-7, and I thought the Browns were going to win this. I thought this was a new chapter for the Browns. I thought Kevin Stefanski was helping the Browns get to where they want to be, and clearly I was wrong. They hit the steel curtain, and they crumbled. They became back the Browns of years past. This was nothing new. Is Baker the answer, though? I was watching Stephen A. Smith saying maybe he's not. Maybe OBJ and Jarvis Landry need a new quarterback. Baker might not be the answer. I don't know. He seemed to be fine other weeks, but for this particular game, the Browns have no answer for the Steelers. There's nothing. There's no answer. There's nothing he could have done any different to help them with the Steelers. It's crazy. Chase Claypool, though, on the Steelers side, he is becoming a real receiver. He is showing why he could be a superstar in this league. He could show why he could be up there with the greats like these receivers. Let's see what happens, though. You know what? Unfortunately, I like Juju Smith-Schuster, but he seems to be becoming second fiddle to Chase Claypool now. Is this really what's going to happen? Is he going to become second fiddle to Chase Claypool? We don't know. Ben's still playing like a rock star, though, out there. He's showing no rust. He's showing that after that injury from last year, he's doing well. But when we get into next week, he will have a real challenge ahead of him. We'll see how he handles that. So one of the games that I was not really shocked by, it kind of played by what I thought would happen. The Bears and the Panthers. The Bears beat the Panthers 23-16. I said the Bears were going to win this, and I was clearly right. I thought, you know what? The Panthers had an easy win against the Falcons last week because they were still rocking with Dan Quinn, who was not doing so hot. But now they were playing a team with an amazing defense and a subpar offense. And it kind of showed that, you know what? Teddy and them were ready to ball, but they're not at that point yet. The Bears, I think if they had a better quarterback, Mitch Trubisky, Nick Foles, if they had someone better than those two, I think they'd be the next step. Like maybe, I know they were saying the Colts should trade for Matt Ryan. Maybe the Bears could have traded for Matt Ryan. I don't want to see anyone trade for Matt Ryan, but like if they got if they got a Phil Rivers, if they had someone who can decently throw the ball in the pocket, maybe they could get Alex Smith. Maybe they had a Case Keenum who did well in Minnesota when he had the pieces. Like, if they get someone that can handle that, like, they have the pieces. They just need a good guy to sling it to them, because I don't know if those are the answers. Like, Nick Foles, he got hot at the right time, which led him to this path that he went down. So, it's just kind of interesting to see. In terms of, like I said, for the Panthers, though, they're still in rebuild. They're missing definitely Christian McCaffrey. But they're still doing solid. Like, they're still having a great game. They're having a great year. So, they could still be going. They could still make the playoffs with this team. It's going to be hard, though, for them. It's an uphill battle, definitely. Battle of one-win teams. We had the Jaguars and the Lions. Now, both coaches, I think, were on the hot seat here. They're still on the hot seat. I said the Lions are going to win this. The Lions did win this 34-16. For the Jaguar side of things, they're supposed to be in a rebuild, and now it's showing. They beat the Colts in week 1 by a fluke, it seemed like, and they haven't done anything since. They've only got one win, and it was that Colts team. Now, Gardner Minshew may not be the answer. They thought he was the answer, which is why they traded Nick Foles. Minshew might not be the answer either. He might be done. This might be it for him. He might be backing up everyone like Mike Lennon now. Blaine Gabbert, too. Like, Blaine Gabbert's backing up Tom Brady over in Tampa. I think his time here is over. I think he's just backing up people now. That's his career now. I know he's a one-year guy, but he's not getting the pieces. He's not doing so hot, and you know what? It's just it doesn't seem to be working out for him. Lions side of things, they got a win finally. Yeah, great. They beat the Cardinals. That was good, but they really haven't done much since that. Like this doesn't really feel like a win. I want to see them win against a team that will give them a challenge, and we got to see that. I want to see them play the Packers again. I want to see them play the Bears. I want to see them play the Vikings. Maybe not the Vikings. The Vikings seem like they're going down a hill here. But I want to see them play like a Packers or Bears. I got to see them get a win. I got to see them play a Saints, a Buccaneers, because they're playing the NFC South this year. They got the Falcons coming up. We'll talk about that preview a little later. But like we got to see the win against these teams that aren't like throwing everything away. We got to see one of these teams that are trying to play and get like good stuff. All right. There were 2 games for the 4 o'clock on Sunday, which I thought was weird, but they seem to be kind of boring. We had the Dolphins versus the Jets. The Jets. They're the fucking Jets. They lost 24-0 to the Dolphins. I said the Dolphins were going to win. Fitzpatrick played great again. You knew it was going to happen. The Jets, what the hell? They got rid of Le'Veon Bell. They got rid of Jamal Adams. They're blowing this shit up because Adam Gase is an idiot. And Dolphins side of things, it was nice to see that they let Tua play, get his first career, snaps in there. They let him play a little bit. And it was nice to see that after there, he sat down where he first got there. He called his parents. They had a nice talk. But you know what? They're playing the Jets, too. Like, that's stupid. They're 3-3 now in the season. You know what? They're second in the division now. They're ahead of the Patriots, which I thought was shocking. I didn't think anyone, you never see it. So the Dolphins, they get that, they basically get a free win. Like, next time they play the Jets, they'll probably get another free win in there. But, like, this team is just terrible. Like, they get rid of their talent. They're not using their talent. Like, they got rid of Jamal Adams. They weren't using him. They got rid of Le'Veon. They weren't using him. Who's next? Like, Darnold's, like, injured to hell. They played Joe Flacco for the second week in a row, who's very clearly not the answer. Like, what the hell are they doing? There's no saving them. Like, they have to get rid of Gase, and it's probably not going to be. They might get rid of him next year. You never know. Now, we have the Packers and the Bucks who also played that game. That was supposed to be an interesting game. I said the Packers were going to win. They fucking blew it. The Buccaneers beat them 38-10. That Packers team scored 10 points, and then they let the Buccaneers just trounce all over them. Brady showed a town on them. Brady's shoe that he was still legit in this league. He showed he came and balled out. He showed it. That Buccaneers team is well built. They've got plenty of pieces. They're definitely old, but they're still playing hard. Packers team was undefeated. I thought they were going to keep it alive. I thought Aaron Rodgers was angry. They brought in Jordan Love, and I thought, maybe this Packers team wants to show why he's still the man. He doesn't want Jordan Love coming and taking over his team. We never know. It was a boring game all around. It wasn't much watching. Then the Sunday night game was kind of the same way. 49ers, Rams. I thought the Rams were going to win. 49ers, Jimmy G came in and he balled out. He beat the Rams. Rams never beaten the 49ers since Jimmy G got there. They're 0-3 against them at this point. And you know what? That it was a terrible showing by them. I don't know what the hell happened. It just seemed like they had a full meltdown. They scored a touchdown late in the game, and it was all for naught at that point. It was basically over. It just wasn't interesting either. That was just a kind of a dull, bland kind of showing by the Rams. So are they actually back? We still don't know. It's kind of weird to see what's going on over there because they were so amazing 2 years ago, and now it's just what happened. Now, over to the Monday night games. The Chiefs and the Bills, they played Monday night. They were supposed to be the Thursday night game. It was a hell of a showing. Unfortunately, I had the Bills winning. The Bills could not win it. The Chiefs came back. They won 26-17. 2 straight losses for the Bills since they lost to the Titans on Tuesday. They lost to the Chiefs on Monday. Hopefully they could turn around. I still have them winning the AFC East, but they are in first. That's 2 teams in front of the Patriots. It's kind of weird to see. You never thought you'd see the 2 teams in front of them. And then Cowboys, Cardinals. There's not much to say. The Cowboys, without Dak, it's kind of rough for them. Andy Dalton, he's not the answer. He really isn't. There's not much he could do. It's kind of rough. And you know what? It showed. They needed Dak. They needed him to be there. The defense couldn't show up. Kyler Murray, he's now undefeated in AT&T Stadium. It might not be NFL. He was 5-0 in high school. He's 1-0 in college. He's 1-0 now in the pros. He's not beaten in Dallas. He's unbeaten in Dallas, and it showed. Cowboys definitely struggling. This NFC East division is still up for grabs. Everyone is 1 game apart of each other. No one has a winning record there. It's the most wins is 2. So we'll see what happens. The Giants could have easily been number 1 in this division if they finished out last week, but they didn't. So we'll see what happens in this AFC East. No one deserves the win. You know what? Whoever wins this, they get a home playoff game. And that's sad to think that, there's other teams out there that's doing much better than them, and they're not going to get that home playoff game because they have to go through this Giants team now, and it's sad. It's really sad. Now, Week 17 coming up now. We actually do have a Thursday night game. Now, I don't know if you want to call this an interesting game or if you want to call it a bad game. Because, yes, it's 2 bad teams, but it's a division game nonetheless. We have the Giants and the Eagles. I think Carson Wentz is playing better than the Giants team altogether, so I think the Eagles are going to win that. Carson Wentz is going to have to ball out again, but he can do it. We've seen what he can do. He almost came back to beat the Ravens. So, you know what? To see this Eagles team come flying in like this, I think they're going to continue this what they did last week, bring that momentum into next week, and they're going to beat the Giants. Now we head over to Sunday. Now this is going to be interesting because ever since week 2 I started picking against the Falcons. But after seeing a good win against the Vikings, I'm going to go back to picking my Falcons. I think they're going to show. I think Raheem Morris is going to get the best out of this defense. The offense is already playing strong. I think now that Dan Quinn isn't limiting them, they can really fly. They can do what they need to do. And I think the Falcons will beat the Lions Sunday. I don't, as much as I like the Matt Stafford, I think Matt Patricia's bringing that entire team down. He's trying to bring the Patriot way to a team that cannot be the Patriot way. They brought TJ Hawkinson to be Gronk. They brought in, all these old Patriots players, and it's not working. You have to make your own identity. Unfortunately, anyone that leaves the Patriots does not do well, with the exception of Mike Vrabel coaching the Titans and Adam Vinatieri, who was the kicker for the Colts, who I'm sad to see he was gone. And Gostkowski, who seems to be doing all right as well. But people who leave the Patriots and try to do the Patriots thing does not work out. You see it with Bill O'Brien. You see it with Matt Patricia. Randy Moss wasn't so hot after he left the Patriots. Ty Law when he left. Curtis Martin when he left. Can Don Brady break that mold too? But we'll talk about that later. So I don't see the Lions winning. Browns, Bengals. Bengals are still beaten up. I think the Browns need a very, very big win, and I think this will be the win that gets them back on the winning ways. So I'm going to take the Browns in that one. Steelers, Titans. This was supposed to be a matchup earlier in the year, but due to COVID, was not able to be. So I think the Titans are still going to win that one. I think the Titans have a better team. I think the defense and the defense on both teams, like, it's a scary matchup. It's going to be a fun one to watch. I was kind of hoping they'd flex that one to later down the road, so this way people could actually watch it, but it's still 1 o'clock. But it should be a fun one to watch nonetheless, and the Titans, I think, are going to win this one. Saints, Panthers. Saints coming off a bye week. Panthers coming off a tough loss. I think the Saints are going to win it. I think they have a better team. I don't know what's going on with Michael Thomas still. He's having issues with the team. Maybe his time in New Orleans is up, and maybe he's going to have... Maybe he might end up in Baltimore. Maybe that might be what he needs to do. But his time might be over. Unfortunately, I don't see the Panthers team beating the Saints team. Bills, Jets. It's the Jets, so Bills are going to win. The Jets, Adam Gase needs to leave. That's all that matters. I think this will be the Bills are going to get a win after losing 2 straight, and they're going to get back, and they're going to make sure they get more wins here. They're going to take control of this division. Cowboys, football team. I think the Cowboys are going to win this one. The football team, they're not up to par. Even if they're playing a beaten-up Cowboys team, football team does not have the manpower here. They don't have the star power. They're not going to win this one. Packers, Texans. The Texans, they're starting to come back together, but they're playing a tough Packers team now who's looking to win after losing a tough one to the Buccaneers. So I think the Packers are going to come back and win this one. Seahawks, Cardinals. That should be fun. Seahawks still undefeated. Cardinals coming off a big win. I think the Seahawks are going to win this one, but you cannot count out that Cardinals team. They could easily win this one from the Seahawks. They could take it away from them. They seem to do it in the past, so I think it'll be a close one to watch. I think the Seahawks will come out on top, though. Russell Wilson is going to will them. Just before I continue on with the previews, I think the Seahawks and the Eagles are more or less kind of the same team right now. Eagles banged up, unfortunately. They don't have a good team around Carson Wentz. I think the Seahawks also, like, Russell Wilson's kind of carrying that team as well. I don't see them having this amazing team that everyone's saying it. It's just Russell Wilson is able to do more than Carson Wentz, and you could see it here. So I think the Seahawks are kind of 5-0 off of Russell Wilson balling out here. So he just happens to have DK Metcalf, which is a good step for him over the Eagles. So the Seahawks are still going to win. Chiefs, Broncos. I think the Chiefs are going to win this one. The Broncos had a good showing last week against the Patriots. But again, that's a beaten-up Patriots team. This is a Chiefs team that's more healthy, more out there. And I think this Chiefs team is going to take them all the way. And I think they're going to win this one big. 49ers, Patriots. I said the 49ers are going to win this one because I think Kyle Shanahan has this 49ers team. I think he could get them back to where they want to be after that big win against the Rams. The Rams were no joking matter. That was a serious team to play. And to see him come out like that and win, I think he could do it again against the Patriots. We just got to see him do it. Unfortunately, Cam and Stephon Gilmore might still be a little weak in the knees after the whole recovery process here. Jaguars, Chargers. I think the Chargers are going to win this one. I don't know. When I was making my list, I accidentally put the dash next to the Chargers. The Jaguars. I think the Chargers are going to win this one. Justin Herbert, he's balling out. He's showing why he could be Rookie of the Year. You know, you'd think Joe Burrow is going to do it, but he's just not doing so hot. Justin Herbert, I think, will be Rookie of the Year. And he's balling out right now. It's unfortunate that Tyrod Taylor got sidelined due to medical staff screwing him, but Justin Herbert used this opportunity to show that he is the answer. And he's going to win this one against that Jags team that just looks terrible. Now, Sunday night, Buccaneers, Raiders, rematch of the 2002 Super Bowl. Buccaneers are going to win this one. Raiders look solid. They still look like a good team, but they could definitely be hit or miss still. They can lose games like against the Patriots, but they can win against the Chiefs. So you never know. You don't know which Raiders team is going to come out here Sunday night against the Buccaneers, but I think Tom Brady, you know what's going to come with him, and he's going to win this Sunday night game. And Monday night, we got Bears, Rams. I think the Bears are going to win this one. I think the Rams are having some issues over there, and the Bears are going to take advantage of those issues. So I think the Bears are going to take it. So that's going to wrap up the Week 7. We have some teams on bye weeks that are going to take some time to recoup and, you know, either ride the hot streak or fix themselves. We have the Colts. They're on bye week. We got the Dolphins. They're on bye week. Vikings, like I said, they're on a bye week. They got to figure out what's going on there. Kirk Cousins had a terrible showing. And then Ravens on a bye week. So those teams, they're going to be recovering. They're going to be doing what they need to do, getting the rest. Ryan Fitzpatrick trying to recover from his 2 wins. He got some 2 wins in there. Colts, you know, they're going to take some rest and relaxation. They're going to try to come back and win next on week 8. So we'll see what happens after that. Switching gears here, MLB, we're rounding the end of their year. We have the World Series matchup here. It's ready to go. So why don't we talk about the NLCS here first? Dodgers beat the Braves 4-3. Atlanta sports traditions, blowing leads. You see it with the Falcons. You saw it with Georgia football. You see it with the Hawks. You see it with the Braves. They were up 3-1 in the series, and they blew it. Dodgers won in 7. I said they were going to win in 7, and they won in 7. They blew a 3-1 lead. It's sad to see, but it had to happen, unfortunately. The Hawks blew it when they traded Luka. The Falcons blew it 28-3, and then we'll not talk about the season. The Braves have blown it. Georgia football has blown it. It has happened. You see it happen all the time. Acuna could not carry the team. Everyone else seemed to falter between games 4 and 7. It's rough. On the ALCS side of things, the Rays almost blew a 3-1 lead as well, but the Rays came and they actually won it in Game 7. They took away a chance for the Astros to come back in that game. Now, for the Astros in this run, I keep hating on them because of the cheating thing, but this playoff run showed they did not need to cheat to get there. They are the new hated team in baseball. Yes, we get it. But with that, you have to give credit where credit is due. They came in. They put their head to the grind. Dusty Baker led this team. They didn't cheat. They got up to the challenge, and they made it to the ALCS. Unfortunately, the Rays showed they were a little more angry than the Astros, since the Astros did kind of screw the Rays in a little bit there. But the Rays did win it. Now, here's the issue. So the World Series is the Dodgers-Rays. I'm going to have the Dodgers in 7. But you saw in the ALCS, the Rays kind of started to lose steam in there. They started losing their heat. They kind of lost momentum. And could that fall to them coming down the stretch? It could easily do that. Now, we could see them like regain that steam, but you kind of saw it there in the ALCS. They are losing momentum. They're losing the steam here. Like, they could easily falter here. They could blow this easily. I think the Dodgers are going to win in 7. They could easily blow it in 5. They could blow it in 6. You never know. Unfortunately, yeah, the Rays were losing steam. The Dodgers were gaining steam. And I was watching a video from a YouTube video. Gentleman's name is Urinating Tree. I think he's great. Great YouTube content. If you haven't seen it already, I definitely recommend giving a see. But the Dodgers and the Rays definitely have similar teams. Just the Dodgers have the money to do it, and I think that definitely is showing. So the Dodgers, I think, are going to win in 7. Now, this league, there's been some NBA news. I know they're not in season right now, but it's definitely worth noting. So I know I didn't cover it before, but I wanted to wait for a good, decent list of things. Doc Rivers, he got fired from the Clippers. He is now the new head coach of the 76ers. And with that, Tyronn Lue, the assistant coach, is now the head coach of the Clippers. Doc Rivers definitely has a challenge ahead of him in the Sixers. Now that the process is dead, they're probably going to blow it up again, it seems like. You never know what's going to happen. Ty Lue, I like the guy. He's a decent coach, but I think he's a product of LeBron. I think he and Mike McCarthy have very similar, like Mike McCarthy over in football, the head coach of the Cowboys. I think they're very similar. I think Ty Lue was a product of LeBron James, and I think Mike McCarthy was a product of Aaron Rodgers. I say this because you don't really see them doing much now that they don't have those weapons. Now, Ty Lue, now he's inheriting a team with Kawhi, Paul George, Montrezl Harrell, Lou Will, Patrick Beverley. Like, he's got a good team around him. Let's see what he can do with it. But again, I think LeBron James made Ty Lue the coach he was. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. We still have no announcement when the season's going to happen. We have no news on the draft. We got to wait to see what happens. The draft order, I know Golden State has the 2 pick, Timberwolves have the 1 pick. It's going to be interesting to see. LaMelo Ball, I think, will be an answer for the Timberwolves if they take him. If you put D'Lo at point guard, you put LaMelo at shooting guard, Cat at center. That's going to be a nice trio they have. But we'll see what happens when the draft comes around. We got to wait for them to announce it. Now, in terms of free agent list here, it's kind of big, but it's not too big. Derrick Rose is on the Lakers list of possibilities. Now, why is this big? I think D Rose, due to injuries, he's come back. He's not really having too many injuries. I think it would be awesome to see him on the Lakers and see him be an actual contender for a ring again. I want Derrick Rose to have a ring. I think he deserves it. It's rough to see him like this. It's kind of hard, but you know what? He's trying to do what he can to come back. He's changing his game style. He's not trying to be as destructive as he was. It'll be awesome. And then the Heat announced that Giannis for the 2021 free agency, that they want to go in on Giannis. I don't know how well that'll work, but we'll see what happens. You never know. So that'll be interesting to do. Heat looking at Giannis. And you know what? It'll be fun. We'll see what happens. Maybe he'll leave the Bucks. Maybe he won't. So that will do it for this week's episode. I hope you enjoyed listening to everything we had to say. If you want to comment on anything, we have our social medias. We have our Facebook. We have our Twitter. Please feel free to reach out. We're always happy to talk sports. I'm working in the mix here. Maybe I do my video gaming on Dudes on the Couch. I'm looking to maybe separate the sports to doing making our YouTube channel just podcasting, but maybe do the sports side of things here as well. So we'll see what happens. I'm not too sure what we want to do. I will be discussing it with my fellow Dudes members, and we'll go from there. But besides that, definitely keep an eye out. We'll keep updates on what we do with the sports video games. Maybe just focus all that on this specific channel and maybe have it become part of Dudes on the Couch. All right, besides that, make sure you, like I said, follow us on the social medias and, be on the watch out. World Series starts tonight. It is Tuesday, October 20th. So game 1 will be tonight. Definitely give it a watch, and we'll hopefully reconvene when that series is a little in there. Enjoy the rest of your day, everybody.